Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Rob Chafe, Mad Conification.
Chafe.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death you're listening to our show. Yes, y'all, as they say in the street. We've got a super duper boomerang guest.
Boing.
Yes, way back from episode number 68.
68?
Yes,
Was there such a thing?
there was way back then. Guest, who are you?
Rick Matthews of Matthews Effects.
Holy macaroni. Yes, you probably remember that name. And he's back in action. He's got a lot going on. Lots changed since you came on last time, Rick.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the big updates and everything that's going on. For those who aren't familiar or don't know where to find you, where can they find you?
They can find us, on all the usual social media, and website is MatthewsEffects.com. Kind of check us out everywhere.
Two T's, everybody.
Two T's, no apostrophe S.
Yes.
Everyone thinks.
All right. Well, Rick, we love the work that you do out there, and we're very, very curious to see where things are at now.
Thank you.
And
Or hear about it.
hear about it. Yes, we won't. Well, we can see it on the internet because he just released some stuff.
Okay, I saw some of that on that.
It's still pretty hot
on that social media stuff.
Yeah. Rick, you just so people have another idea. Like, name some of the pedals that you are famous for.
Famous is a strong word. I would say what we're most known for is probably like the Astronomer. That was like our biggest product that we ever launched so far. But more recently, we launched the Technician, which has gotten some good, buzz about it. People are enjoying it, so that's fun. Or maybe like the Architect.
I was just going to say, don't leave out the Architect.
Yeah.
So yes. Anyways, some really great pedals in his back catalog, but he's moving forward, and that's what we're gonna focus on.
Nice.
We got a couple of announcements.
Go.
I want to give a big shout out, to James Pennington. Jamesy has won the Spindrift Audio Alpha Wolf.
Oh.
Yes. So that's going to be going out to him. We're grateful to Spindrift for sending that our way. We recently, I guess that would have been around summertime, I think. So we had Spindrift on.
Yeah, that wasn't recently.
Yeah, it was. Well, recently, as opposed to when Rick was on. Yes. Yes. In this decade.
Yeah. Yes.
That is weird.
Oh, man.
It actually is. This is a new decade.
Yeah. Well, and
that is really weird.
And and it seems like everything changed. The pre-pandemic, post-pandemic.
Yes.
So everything's really changed.
Anyways, okay. On with the things.
Yes.
I also want to just let you know, everybody. We had the NAMM recap and everything, and I've been cataloging all the guests that we are planning to have on the show.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
A list,
Cataloging.
a cataloging. Yes, that is actually. That's accurate.
They're like, I don't know what a catalog is. Is it anything like a vlog?
But really outstanding ones. We went through some of those lists, but I'll just I'm just gonna look just real quick. Lawler, Third Power, Pete's Diary, Soul Tool, Digitech, Surfy Industries, TV Jones, Source Audio, Eastman, Carr, Mad Professor, Bruce, Celestian. Texas Toast, all kinds of great stuff, and more.
Did you get our friend up north scheduled yet?
What?
The guy who emailed us back last week? Is he on the schedule?
No.
Come on, Todd.
Not me. I've
Come
already
on,
done.
Todd.
See, again, I've done my part.
Okay.
So we're waiting.
I'll
We're
make
waiting.
it happen.
Anyways, so that's all coming at you, everybody. We're excited about a lot of these things, and even
We're excited
more.
about all of these
We're
things.
excited about all these things. Speaking of excitement, Tony,
Yes?
what's going on in our music world this week? Why don't you go ahead and kick it off, and then we're going to check in with Rick.
Well, this was so I'm kind of excited about this. back. Actually, I think it might have been December 31st. I placed an order.
I knew this was going to be something with Alibaba. Or,
No. This is actually something completely different. Oh, okay. So I found through a friend a guy up in Canada that is making Bigsby style guitar pickups.
Oh,
and by that I mean,
I remember you.
They're like the cast aluminum framed, cast aluminum cover. Mm-hmm. I ordered. He makes a couple different versions, but I ordered the single coils because that's truer to what I would want. But the interesting thing about Bigsby pickups is they are. I mean, if you meter them, they are super low out resistance reading, mm-hmm. but they're wound with very thick wire. And that's interesting. That's or thicker than normal wire. And
what's the upside or downside of that?
Well, it just gives it a unique tone. So if you've ever
how so?
He doesn't make pickups. He makes pick guards.
No, but he knows how to talk about tone.
Yeah. I would say they're very clean.
Okay.
They don't like to break up a lot. And they sound really good. I think they sound especially good in semi-hollow or hollow body instruments.
Okay.
And they're just really unique looking and sounding.
Yes.
And so
there's a cool factor.
Yeah, it is a cool factor.
I would say.
So I got an email from him actually this morning saying that he is going to be working on them this week, and he'll ship them out. Now,
what's his company called?
It is called Larson's Artisan Woodwork.
Larson's Artisan
Woodwork. There you go. Spell it like that.
My goodness.
Yes, there it is. So he makes guitars, like Bigsby style guitars. He makes furniture, and he makes pickups and parts that are for like old 50s Bigsby style guitars. Mm-hmm. He does not, I'm sure he buys Bigsby tremolos or vibratos. It's not a tremolo, it's a vibrato. But yeah, and I found these to be remarkably affordable. If you were to try to buy a true, even a repro Bigsby style pickup, you would spend hundreds of dollars on
hundreds.
Them. And if an original one, I've seen them go for thousands of dollars.
I mean, it even comes in like a humbucker.
Yeah, you can get a rail,
TV Jonesy looking thing.
Yeah, and he charges $125 a pickup.
That's crazy.
And
I mean, considering that's a lot of the whole aluminum.
It's cast aluminum
and everything,
and then it's got to be cleaned up and polished and everything. So I really appreciate the work that he does. And my big concern is that I wasn't going to get them shipped before some leader's idea of tariffs were going to kick in. So luckily we got a little extension on those types of things, even though I'm not sure if the tariffs will cover all the bits and pieces.
I think it's anything over $600.
Yeah, 6 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, I'm glad to hear that they should be on their way maybe end of this week, first of next. So that gets us past the pushed back deadline too.
Yes.
So, but anyhow, I will have a full report, and my intention for this is to build a guitar kind of around them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, excellent. Rick, how about yourself?
Man, I got a number of different things, I guess. While at NAMM, I picked up a new the rock slide. Like a new slide. Trying to kind of commit to learning how to play slide this year. Never been able to do it before, but felt like it was a good year to kind of jump on that wagon and start doing it.
There you go.
2025, the year of the slide, I believe that's what it's called.
The year of the slide, yeah.
Yes, 24 was the electric slide.
Yes.
And then at the same time, I'm doing a whole new pedal board build. So
cool.
Excited just to try out new stuff that, either I haven't tried out before or just get some new flavors, some new inspiration on there. And then to top it off, I started doing some, I think it's artist work.
Oh,
no.
Yeah, I'm doing some Paul Gilbert lessons on, I think it's artist works or whatever it is.
Is that why you got the slide?
No, I don't know. I mean, if he has some slide things, that would be amazing.
Oh, I mean,
but,
he's got his like
his new
proprietary
thing for the last
magnetic
couple of years,
slide that sticks to the guitar. It's pretty slick.
Yeah. No, I just don't know if he covers that in these specific modules or not. But
Did you get the headphones?
no, I didn't get the headphones. These are headphones.
He always plays with these giant monster headphones on his head.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually pretty smart when it comes to that.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just generally trying to kind of personal improvement in how I play.
That's awesome.
Play some new stuff and make some new sounds, which I
He's
think will be
such
a
an
good year.
entertaining guy too. There's like that's a guy who's like, man, it would be so rad to ride a bus with that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It seems like a pretty cool system too. You can actually like create videos that he will watch and respond to fix like your technique and stuff.
If you're a masochist.
Oh, I'm gonna do one and send it to him. Hey, Paul, what do you think, man?
His reply. Please don't email me again.
Actually, maybe he's the masochist.
Well, to add on to it, it's like public, so like you can see all the submissions
even
from
better.
everyone else.
No.
Even better. I'm doing it.
So we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be good.
I would rather have someone play a jaw harp on my Adam's apple than do that.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, that's like every guitar show for me, right? Which is like everyone's always like, I never want to play my stuff at shows because everyone is always like so much better, than like, especially when you're like in Nashville or something, you're like, your waiter is like 3 times the guitarist I'll ever be.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm
the
like,
truth.
I need to take the effort, try to work on those chops a little bit.
Well, Rick, I just want to give you your affirmation.
Yes.
You're smart enough, you're good enough, and doggone it, people like you.
People like me, yeah.
Rob, how about yourself?
So I played first gig of the year last weekend.
Oh, wow.
And that was interesting.
Why?
Well, so we do 3 1-hour sets. It's a cover gig, 15-minute breaks or whatever. And we didn't do a sound check. We often don't do a sound check because everybody's really lazy. And even though I was like, hey, we should do 2 minutes of a song, everybody's like, nah, we'll be fine. And I checked my guitar. Everything was fine. First chord of the first song was like, that doesn't sound right. And I couldn't put my finger on it. It's loud stage. I've got, the shield in front of it. But I was like, it sounded like it didn't have as much gain as it normally is. Like I would need to turn up the gain, and it didn't sustain as much. But it was still
I'm going
there.
to guess power tubes.
Yeah, no.
Power transformer.
Nope. And then like 2 minutes into a song, I hear and then that goes away. And I'm like, son of a bitch, there's a cable somewhere that is losing ground connection. And I'm like, So, I do the thing, and, we stop the song, and I kneel over real quick, and I plug in every pedal individually in case there's just dirt somewhere, move everything, and no noise, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, whatever it was, maybe something was just unplugged a little bit. Play the next song, okay, no problem. Starting on like the third song, halfway through, completely drops out. I'm like, there's nothing. Then it comes in with the and then I kick something, and then it's fine. And then I back away, I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. The whole hour was that.
So was your guitar?
No, it was something in the pedal board somewhere.
Ugh.
But I've got 2 loops, 4 or 5 pedals in front, 4 or 5 pedals in the loop.
Yeah.
Breakout box, everything. So there's no troubleshooting on stage.
No, none.
So every song or two, I would just be playing.
Need a pod go.
Yeah, right. I'd just be playing, and I'd have to just like kick the board 2 or 3 times, move it a couple inches, and it'd stop, and I wouldn't move, and then it would go out. So then I would move, and then it'd come back in, and it was fun.
Yes.
And then probably about halfway through, I just got aggravated, and I bypassed everything.
Yeah.
I just plugged straight into the head, pulled the effects loop out. So no tuner, no nothing. No different sound, and I got to play Bruno Mars next to the Tool to the next to this. So I do need some pedals just to change gain levels. And it's like, well, that's all out the window. It is what it is. I'm on one channel and volume knob, and we'll just. So it was
Frustrating.
misery
sounds
for an
frustrating.
hour.
And I, aside from just that being a frustrating experience, it takes you out of where you're supposed to be locked in and enjoying it. That's the worst part, man.
And I mean, this wasn't a big gig, but there was 140-ish people there. So to have that going on where we stop a song, we usually go song, a performance, and stop a song, and then Nate's like, get your stuff figured out over there, Rob. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe let's find
Yeah.
out. And we do a song, and then
No, but I would have if we would have sound checked, you boobs.
well, maybe right.
But maybe it wouldn't have mattered because
Maybe it did.
Those gremlins are,
That's true.
But I'm with Tony.
big
I would have
gremlins.
liked to have done a song or two just to turn all the pedals on and off. And
I actually
okay,
said
we're
that,
good.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
Yeah.
thought it,
That's
and then
lovely.
Todd said
so
it.
but I found it. I spent the whole first break. I found the bad cable. I had an extra one, of course. So, and then the second set was glorious.
So
'cause
it was what cable was it?
it was a cable going between my volume from my delay or something. Yeah, it was in the
So it was
effects
a
loop.
patch.
It was a patch cable.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yep.
Cool.
And I don't know exactly what failed on it, but
Yes.
it didn't
Is
matter.
it solderless or wired?
Solder's Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yep.
I usually,
We'll talk about
yeah,
that.
I think we might have a solution for you.
I think in the past 2 decades, I've probably had a cable fail at a gig. Maybe that's the second time. So
That's too many.
Yes.
Todd, what about you?
Well, I went down a deep dive into listening to all of the little sound clips from the TV Jones site because I'm very seriously considering dropping some of those into my Hagstrom Viking because I have a gold twin of that I can leave the humbuckers in.
Right.
Or put one of them. I'm thinking about putting the TV Jones into,
Right.
just to kind of get a
Which-
little bit
which
more
style
of like a Gretschy kind of.
Which style, like the Filtertron style?
Yeah. So
Because you can get the TV Jones makes a Filtertron in a humbucker,
in a humbucker
case.
size, yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm thinking of. I think I was looking at like the Powertrons. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, considering that.
And another good one would be the Lollertrons too.
I don't know enough about the difference of those, but maybe we can talk offline about that.
We'll
Tony.
talk offline.
Unless you want to talk online about that.
I will have your people call my people, and we'll get it all
Perfect.
sorted.
Anyway,
The,
so
the Lambertron is supposed to be pretty good too. If you haven't checked that out.
Yeah.
who?
The Lambertone pickups.
Oh,
Lambertron.
Lambertron. I'll
Yeah.
have to check those out. Sounds like a shootout video. No, just kidding.
you learned your lesson with the one, right?
Well, I mean, it'd be different if we did on like the country gentleman over here with the snapback. It'd be really easy to just pop those in and out.
Oh yeah.
Not so much with the straight F holes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh yeah. You have to put Chase on retainer.
yeah, he's gonna be like, dude. I'm like, I'll buy you some dinner. Okay.
Or we could just drill holes in the back of your Hagstrom.
That's true.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got a sawzall.
Perfect.
All right. Well, speaking of perfect,
Rob.
you know what would work a lot better? I think maybe for your situation.
Mogami, I know.
No,
I know.
No. Tour gear patch cables. I don't know if you're familiar.
Never
I don't
heard
know
of
if you've
them.
ever heard us
Never
mention
heard of them.
Yes, those are fantastic patch cables.
Why?
With all kinds of different sizes.
Why?
Because they're made in Canada. And they have such a small footprint. In fact, almost no footprint. The diameter of the actual jack plug is the actual plug. It's tiny and it's flat.
Like a crepe.
Yeah, all the things.
But
Yes.
there's one thing more.
What?
Well, let's just say you're on the Tour Gear Designs website
Yes.
and you're loading up your cart. Say.
Uh-huh.
You're putting, I could use some 2-footers. I could use some 1-footers. I could use some 5-footers.
Or smaller.
Or smaller, I could use some 800-footers.
Unless you're like running across the stage
awesome.
to do everything.
Yeah, but you want little shorties.
Yeah.
And then go to the top to the
Perfect
side.
for Rob.
Yeah.
And anyways, load up your cart
And
and then you're going to enter in a special code. Tony, what is that?
it's called the Guitar Knobs, all lowercase, all one word.
That's right. You're going to save 15% on your order, Rob.
That's 15%.
That is 15%. We highly recommend you checking these out if you are remotely interested and maybe you're having cable problems like Rob.
Yes.
And maybe that would solve it. All right. Thanks to our friends.
Or maybe you're putting a new board together,
You
like
might
our
be
friend
putting-
Rick.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Rick needs these too.
Nice. Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you to Tour Gear for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this.
What was that?
I think that was Glenda Jared.
That was not Jared.
That was that again.
That was Munchkin Jared.
Get a little bit of this.
What is that?
Yeah, that was sped up. I put the wrong one.
Okay, I was gonna say that's not right at all.
It's kind of funny though.
Jared wants you to follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
I'm dying over here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's got to stay like that from now on.
I think I like that.
Goodness.
That was good.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Rick Matthews of Matthews Effects. Funny how that worked out. Boy, you really got lucky with that name. Give us your 4 on the floor V2.
Man, I feel like I still got to keep number one. You got to have a tuner. Like if you're not in tune, it doesn't make sense. So I go with that. But then I think I go with a Zoya.
Whoa.
What?
What tuner?
Oh, what specific tuner?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Chicken of the sea.
I don't even
That's pretty good,
I don't have a preference overly, I guess, but like any solid tuner, right? Like any foot pedal tuner that you can turn on and off.
What's your favorite one?
What do you got right now? What are you gonna put on the new board?
I'm currently using the VP Junior tuner volume pedal, but I have to say I do not like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I got it because I was like, I love having a volume pedal. I could save space having the tuner on there. It's like fine, but I don't. It's a touch screen, which I don't love because you're stepping on it constantly. So it just doesn't feel like it works super well. But like it's fine, I guess. But like normally I would use like a Polytune 2. Let's say
There you go.
Polytune
Yeah,
Mini.
that's my weapon of choice personally.
Yeah.
Okay. How about number 2?
2, I got to go with the Zoya because
you really just threw yourself in and out there with that one.
Well, like I'm a huge Empress fan, but also like it can just do so much. I feel like it's a very inspiring piece of gear that doesn't lock you into like one thing. You can do a lot of different things with it. It can even be a synthesizer if you don't, if you're not using it with your guitar. So yeah, I love the Zoya. I think that's awesome. I think the Rubberneck, the DoD Rubberneck analog delay, if you're not familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of that one.
Just a super.
That's like maybe that might be actually their second most famous pedal.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know about their second
the
most
grunge
favorite
pedals
pedal.
almost.
Rob.
But that being said, it's an amazing analog delay that does very different things. Like the Rubberneck settings, you can do some like cool oscillations with holding down the foot switch. It's got modulation. It's just a great bucket brigade delay, and tap tempo and stuff like that. So, and then 4th is really any kind of Klon style pedal. Like obviously I like my Klon style circuit, but really anything that is true to the original, I'm a huge fan of.
Okay.
KTR, I guess, is great. There's a bunch of people who make really awesome clones. I guess let's put it that way.
That is true.
But yeah, that's what I'd go with.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take that. Thank you for your revised 4 on the floor. I'm still surprised by the Zoya, but not that is like
in what way? In what way? You had a very strong reaction when I mentioned the Zoya.
That hasn't been the first one that people have leapt out with in the past. It's come on a couple times, and I remember, I think it was the same show that we caught you at. It's in 17 or 18 when Empress was debuting that. And
it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been a while. And then they sent us one, and it literally, when you see video of when they have like chimpanzees like trying to figure out
You were
like
confused for a while.
how to use a typewriter.
How do we turn this thing on,
Oh
Tony?
my gosh. I mean, we were
Yeah.
flinging poo at the end of it.
Are we
and,
plugging it in backwards?
I mean, shoving bananas in our noses because we couldn't figure out how to use that thing to save our life.
Oh, see, that's
Yeah.
a video we need.
Yes.
It was. I had high hopes, and I was like, "Hey, this is too smart for me. It's too smart for me." That's all.
Maybe it's not for everybody. You
Yeah.
know, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It does have a little learning curve, definitely. But I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you credit. It's a big learning curve,
It's a big learning curve.
but it is a pretty incredible piece of equipment. I just couldn't manage to do it.
You're still having a residual, like,
How do you really feel?
like a Vietnam War vet.
Oh yeah, PTSD.
Ah, yeah.
Flashbacks.
Flashbacks of it.
Well, I felt kinda
Violated?
dumb, because I was like, "Wait a minute, how can I not figure?" It just wasn't made for me. Anyhow, all right. Well, Rick, we need to talk about why you're even here, which is we need to catch up with you. You had a really big release, and I also should point out, ladies and gentlemen, he left off an awful lot when he was talking about like, oh, what are we known for? I mean, there's the chemist, the whaler, the broker, the astronomer, the surgeon, the architect, the whaler,
The pick guard maker.
the cartographer.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a
Coming
lot of
soon.
that stuff out there. Oh, and the cosmonaut. Don't forget the
Yeah,
cosmonaut. And the fool. Oh,
Cool. Yeah.
yes. And the surgeon. Look at that.
Yeah.
Man, you had that's a lot of pedals, man.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of different stuff, which is super, super fun. And we've just tried to always kind of do stuff that's interesting. But I don't know. It's kind of it's interesting now, the point of view, because it's been such a long journey to get to kind of what we did with this new launch. Because it's actually been, I mean, kind of since really, I guess, almost since the last time I was on the show, it's been like an 8-year journey of basically coming into the industry and being like, oh, okay, we're actually like, we're making sales, like this could be a real thing and not like just a hobby I kind of do on the side. But then kind of being like, well, okay, well, if we're going to do this, like, how are we going to contribute to the industry? And it just felt like, with how we came in and like honestly learning as I went, I didn't feel like, I'm never going to launch like an overdrive that's going to sell as many units as like Keeley or JHS or these other amazing designers who are making overdrive pedals. And so then it became a question of, okay, well, if we're not going to do like that type of stuff as like what we'll probably be successful for, it's going to be kind of digital stuff and DSP stuff, which has ended up being the case with like the astronomer and the cosmonaut, our reverbs and our delays. People have really, that's what people really connect with us for.
Yes.
And yeah, it was an 8-year journey of like, okay, well, I got to learn how to code. And then that's not the right language. I need to learn a different language. And I learned on one chipset. And then it was like, well, that has too many limitations. We got to learn a different chipset. And then that all led up to launching the Technician, which in and of itself took 2 years of development to launch it. Yeah.
Well, what's weird is you just were talking about how, you're not going to, be up there with like Keeley or JHS or anything, which is like, I mean, that's a pretty high bar. But
It's a high
at
bar.
that time, you had one of the deepest benches of pedals from a boutique standpoint, a known boutique standpoint. I mean, in retrospect, there weren't a whole lot of people that had as many pedals as you had out.
Yeah.
In that place and time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I have a bad habit of constantly tweaking things and moving. I don't know if it's like, it probably goes along hand to hand with like the self-development stuff of like learning as I went along of like, oh, I crossed some mountain in understanding and now I'm like, oh, well now that's not good enough. I need to go back and like make a new version of that, or that's not good enough. We can't make that anymore. We need to make something else, which is probably to a negative effect over the years. But yeah, it's just kind of constantly been like trying to improve and do new stuff.
So if one goes to your website, and we'll get deep into the technician here in a couple minutes, but if one goes to your website and hits devices, there's the technician and there's the botanist.
Yeah.
And all the pedals that we just mentioned aren't on the website. Is that on purpose, or is that just time gone by, or what's up?
Yeah, most of those are all in the archive section, which I've wanted to spend more time and like put more information and stuff on there. There's certain models that we're like, okay, we want to bring back or we want to develop new models, new versions of them. I think it's also, so basically there's an archive section, and then there's like the stuff that's actually active to order on the website right now, which is predominantly the technician and the botanist. But I think for this story, there has to be a little bit of context, which is 2019, I believe. We did a deal with Boutique Amps Distribution, where we came into the Boutique Amps Distribution family. And so we launched like 5 pedals as kind of like a relaunch of the line, and kind of was doing stuff with them as this kind of development plan that we had. And, things didn't end up working out. It wasn't a good fit for either party. And so we ended up leaving that agreement a couple years ago. But part of that was they got to sell through the IP that they had invested in, which was totally fair. But it meant that we came out of that deal with no IP. So we had to only make new models really until they sold through their inventory, which just took them some time to work through. So that's why it's like, oh, why is there so few things? It's kind of this thing of like, we almost had to start the company over from nothing without any of our existing IP, and like build up our, to be blunt, like to build up our liquid assets and to be able to like have a wider offering for the company, right? So there's models where like, oh, we want to bring back, there's stuff we love that we used to do that we haven't done for a while. But then there's also just really exciting new stuff we want to focus on that we're really excited about. So it's kind of been this back and forth of where do we put our resources? Do we put it towards relaunching something, or do we put it towards a new model? And that's kind of in the weird place that we're in right now.
I see. Well, thank you. I appreciate you going through that, because I was surprised, because I went and I hit devices and I was like, what? Where's all the pedals? Like this huge line of pedals just like disappeared. And at that point, I didn't even look at the archive part. So thank you for calling that out. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go there and you click on devices, you're going to see audio devices, MIDI controllers, firmware update, and then archive on the back. If people, right now you're not selling those, right? Or is it like, hey, if people contact you, you will, or what's up with that?
No, right now we're not selling any of that stuff. Honestly, we're doing right now all of our time is being taken up with just technician sales. And so we've been working on like expanding our team and trying to scale up production so we can keep up with demand, which has been very exciting and awesome to see. Because it also was like a very roll the dice from our perspective. It's a completely new physical format. Right. It's a different art style. It's the most expensive product we've ever launched. So like there was a lot of like, how will our existing customer base respond to it? If they don't, will we be able to pull in new customers? Like how, so there was a lot of questions there. So it's been awesome to see like people have such a positive reaction to it.
Yeah.
But then also like we sold out of the first batch in like 4 days.
Wow.
I have, so many units I'm working on right now, which we're already sold through. So we're trying to get more stock in so we can build more. And so yeah, we even if we wanted to, maybe in a couple months we could do some like limited run, small batches of stuff.
Yeah.
It would be fun to do like astronomers again because that's what people like.
Yeah.
Still really know us from. But yeah, the technician and what's coming next after the technician is taking up all of our attention.
Well, let's talk about this because, yeah, this is a very, very comprehensive unit. And why don't you go ahead and just tell us about it?
Yeah, so the technician, it is a delay engine, a reverb engine, a looper engine, and a filter engine all in one. So one pedal with all of those running at the same time, essentially. And so there's that concept, but then there's also it's independently stereo, I guess. So you can set. I'm not trying to think of the best way to describe it, but like the delay has 4 different delay modes. The reverb has 4 different reverb modes, and so the looper, and so on. But you can set the left and right side independent of each other. So you can have granular delay on your right and have only reverb on the left, or you could have digital delay on the left and reverb and only reverb going on the right. So basically you have full independent control of the algorithms on each side, which lets you dial in really cool stereo spread imaging type stuff.
Yeah.
Or just really unique sends if you're running a stereo rig.
That kind of reminds me of recently was learning about the Jack White Telecaster. Which can send essentially bass frequencies to one side of the stereo and the higher end to one of the others, I believe. No. That wasn't on that. That was I was watching a Gretsch video and they were talking about the Gretsch controls on that.
Oh yeah.
I think it might have been actually the Country Gentleman that does that. But anyways,
a very cool
Tony,
concept.
you're giving me the business. That's wrong. I just watched it. I know I'm not making that up.
Well, I'm not. Is the point to be able to drive like a octave down pedal so you can run?
Well, no.
bass
I
lines?
was just referencing where there was something sending 2 different things through stereo.
Yeah.
And
there was
bass frequencies in the
Gretsch did make a stereo output version, as did Rickenbacker.
Okay, right.
And
anyways, that's all I was referencing.
Many others.
That's all I was referencing.
Many others.
and I may have heard that with the Jack White thing, but that does a million things, so I'm probably wrong. Rick, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So it can do that. I feel like there's a lot to this pedal, so I don't want to overly ramble. But another thing with that topic that I was really excited about this product is for mono users, because I traditionally have always run mono. Recently, I've gotten into running stereo. But I would always, whenever I would get a stereo pedal, it wasn't like I didn't care that it was stereo, obviously, because I wasn't getting any benefit from it. So you can put it in one of the routing modes that you can put it in is parallel mono, which is you can mono input, mono output, but the pedal splits that input to the independent sides. So you still get to have independent engines running and then recombines them for a mono output. So you could still have a granular delay and a digital delay happening at the same time, or any combination of the reverbs. And,
so you're like tricking it to do 2 things at once.
Yeah, so basically it's running just like it would in normal stereo, but it just splits that mono input, giving you more functionality if you want to do 2 digital delays at different tap divisions, so you kind of get a pattern delay happening. Like you could do a bunch of different stuff.
And then they come back together in the end.
Could you do something like a doubling effect?
Yeah, I mean, you could set the delay times. You have very fine control over the delay time, so you could set up a preset where you did like doubling and like layering like that, which would be cool.
So it'd be kind of like if Wile E. Coyote had his rocket skates and he was going, but there was a big rock, and then he spread them out really fast and went over the rock, and then brought them back together once he got past the rock.
That's a very good analogy.
Your analogies are something else, man.
Just watch out for the
Tony's
Acme
like,
safe.
damn it, he's right.
Watch out for the Acme safe.
Sorry, here we go.
He's losing it.
Namtrax.
Namtrax is Vex.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the Namtrax.
I know you're gonna delight us with a bunch more the explanations of what this can do. What was the genesis of this pedal? Because this is a big departure from where you were before.
Yeah, so it's always been the goal to kind of end up in this vein, which was, to get technical for a second, is writing DSP in C on a bare bones platform that I have full control over everything and can really it's not, like if you've heard of the FV1 chip, very cool chip, but you're writing in that specific chip's assembly and it only has certain resources and you kind of have to design in the box. Whereas this, I designed the whole platform and I could control every aspect. Oh, we need more memory. Okay, let's add, more memory, or we need it to go faster. Okay, let's switch to a different chip. And so it was always kind of working towards this. But then once we kind of got here and it was like, oh, this is real. What are we going to make first? My first initial thought was, so the original Technician, this is technically a new version of the Technician, but the original Technician was a dual enclosure of the Astronomer and the Cosmonaut in one pedal format, basically. Which the concept was, let's do a delay and a reverb in one combo pedal. And I went in with very specific thoughts, which was like, okay, the delay is going to have a digital mode and an analog delay mode and like a tape mode. And once we kind of got into development, it just felt like we were trying to tread the same ground that everyone else has already done amazing work. Boss has done it. Strymon's done it. All these brands have done that. Those emulations of those types of delays.
Yes.
And I hate describing it this way, but it really was, it became a thing of okay, well, let's just get experimental and kind of let the product kind of inspire itself, what it should be. And so through just a bunch of just having fun, experimenting with different DSP concepts and stuff, we ended up having, so there's a digital delay. So that's your very traditional digital delay sound. But then you also have granular. So if you've ever heard of granular synthesis, it's a granular delay. There's reverse delay. And then there's
Does that just mean it's got artifacts in it or something?
So what granular does is, if you have a delay buffer, what it's doing is it's grabbing grains, what's called grains from the delay buffer. And what that is little slices of your guitar signal. And then I'm doing things like changing the speed of it, which also changes the pitch. So you get different pitches of stuff you've played, but in key. So it's octaves of what you're playing.
Right.
Or if it's slower, it pitches down, so it's an octave down, but it's also exploded. This small little section becomes this big, slow, lumbering octave down sound, which is really cool. You're changing the positions, where the grains are being pulled from, all these different things, which then get put together to kind of create this synthesized sound of what you were playing.
Like the Star Trek transporter.
Yeah. It's super hard to describe, but once you kind of experience it, you kind of get the concept pretty quickly, once you start to hear it. But that sounds amazing into reverb. That's my favorite thing, is pairing that with reverb.
I see. Just really quick, I know we have people of varying degrees of understanding of some of the language and knowledge. Can you explain DSP to us real quick?
Totally, yeah. So digital signal processing is the function essentially of taking a analog voltage, which is what your signal normally is when it's in a overdrive or coming out of your guitar. It converts that to ones and zeros. I then manipulate those ones and zeros, convert it back to a voltage, and then it gets output.
Right.
So that's the super simplified explanation of what DSP is doing.
Yeah, and I guess maybe and also in layman's terms is you're not just stuck with here's a component and that's all that component does. You are essentially assigning values to components.
Yeah. It kind of depends on
I
exactly.
mean, that's
like,
lame. I know that's lame. That's super layman. So I'm just trying to,
Yeah, totally. An easy way to think of it too, like a really simple DSP concept is what I mentioned before, a delay buffer. What a delay buffer is like if you think of 10 cubby holes. I'm trying to think of like ways to describe it, like 10 basic squares, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those ones and zeros, those samples that come in, you're putting those into those spots and then you're shifting them slowly to the right. So every time a sample comes in, the line gets shifted to the right. It gets shifted to the right. And so how many boxes there are that you're filling, that's how long your delay time is.
Got it.
So it's super, super simple when you think of that. Like you're literally just delaying, converting it back to an analog voltage.
Cool. I love the idea that when you were putting this together, you just said, all right, I'm going to let this thing sort of like dictate what it needs to be, which I can totally understand from coming from where you were and the familiarity of like, this is a pedal, this is what a pedal looks like, this is how a pedal functions, into abandoning those constraints and saying, well, we are going to need, 3 more knobs and, a bunch of other sort of tap or touch buttons and that you wouldn't normally consider for a pedal. And this one is also void of your very well-known artistic wrapping, if you will. You have a brand as far as that goes, and this doesn't have it. So you really did abandon.
It's on the inside.
Oh, it's on the inside. Oh,
yeah. Oh man, that's a good idea. Yeah, it became like apparent pretty quickly that like we couldn't do our traditional. So all of our previous stuff was hand drawn art that was then converted to digital, files to then be printed on pedals. So it's very specific, very artistic, very like these great illustrations, basically. But we figured out very quickly all the things we were trying to fit in this pedal, that would be a hindrance. Like you needed to be able to understand what the knobs do and the switches do very easily on stage.
Yes.
I didn't want you like getting lost in the art, trying to figure out, wait, what did that switch do? And you're in a hurry and you can't figure out where it is in the artwork that it's saying what it does. And so once we kind of made that decision of like, yes, we can't do what we traditionally would do, then it became a question of like, okay, well, what does that look like? We might as well kind of, how can we do that to the best ability of like following the tenets of what we try to do at Matthews Effects? So that led down a whole path of discovering a new stylization for it, a physical layout, how's it going to look. And although it's very different, we're really happy with kind of the direction and how it turned out.
It's really neat, and I love the analog factor of this too.
Yeah,
that's something that we were just talking about the Zoya. This is
right.
This is like an analog Zoya Lite.
Yeah. I wanted it to be really accessible. The way I think of it is there's kind of 3 levels to how you can use it. It's I didn't want people to feel like it was too much to easily jump into. So like the surface level user who just wants to like quickly jump into sounds, all the knobs and all of the toggle switches have all of the most important controls on that first level. And so that's where those guys will hang out, right? The kind of deeper user who wants to maybe add modulation or tweak the reverbs in different ways, there's actually a second page for the controls. So if you notice, there's like smaller text in italics. So those are the sub controls. So like time becomes dry mix, frequency becomes resonance, gives you more.
And you
options.
hold down that center button down at the bottom to activate those. Yeah.
You press it.
Yeah.
So traditionally on products, you would have to hold a button or a series of buttons and like try to twist the knob and get it just right before you let go.
We just did that with the knife drop. That took some.
Yeah.
That took. That took some time to figure that one out too.
Yeah, that process or the way of doing that always bugged me. So this is, there's color indications so you know which page you're on, but it's a press. So you press it, you go to page 2, you can tweak, with both hands as much as you need, and then you can change back to page 1, whenever you're ready.
Got it.
Which just kind of makes that whole process, because sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm going to change the modulation on the delay, but I want to play a couple notes and see how that sounds.
Right.
I'm like, oh, the rate needs to be up a little bit more, the depth needs to be less. Instead of constantly having to redo that whole process, you're still on that page.
Yeah.
So that's that level of user. And then the like really deep user, they're the ones who are unsyncing the left and the right and, dialing one algorithm on the left, different algorithms on the right with different settings. And so there's a ton of stuff you can do, but it's accessible no matter like what level of difficulty, I guess, you want to ascribe to.
That's a pretty daunting task you set yourself down, man. I mean,
I definitely there was times where I was like, is this too much? Like we haven't even covered like half of the amount of features. I don't think we've talked about
no.
There's so much in there.
It looks like a pedal though. So if you think about some of the ones that are out there, some of the Maris stuff, some of the Eventide stuff, even some of the Strymon stuff, those are you have to commit to almost the same level of usership, regardless if you just want to use the very surface level stuff or if you're going to go really, really, really deep.
Yeah.
This, I think, is a really good way into exploring that, but not having to commit to that fully. Like because it's analog, because it's very well laid out, and because the controls, as you were just talking about, are easily accessible and identifiable, you can get to that comfort level without freaking out and like running away from it.
Yeah, that's definitely the
once you
hope,
get comfortable, I bet that's where you can really start going, okay, now I know how to steer this thing. I can go deeper if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's cool stuff. So like for the delay engine, so the delay, reverb, and looper engines have modifiers, what we call modifiers. And all the modifiers are active at the same time. Originally it was like, okay, because the usual experience is like, this mode has modulation, or this mode has shimmer, or this mode, has this. But the way that I wanted to build this was more of a design your own type of thing. Because I know my personal experience, sometimes I'm like, oh, I love the modulation on the analog delay, but I want the repeats of the digital delay, right? Or but you can't mix and match, right? Like those parts are only part of that specific mode. So the delay mode you choose, so you're choosing digital, reverse, granular, or resample. But then the modifiers, you have things like modulation, you have tremolo, you have clock modulation, and you have diffusion. And so like on the digital delay, you can change the diffusion to sound more analog delay-like or more tape delay-like. So number one, you can recraft kind of the actual bass delay sound. And then things like the clock modulation. I don't know if you're familiar with like the Therme or
yes.
What's the way huge delay has it too? I'm spacing the name. But basically where it changes the delay time in musical intervals, basically, of what your timing is set up as. You could do stuff like that, which kind of gives you pitch jumps and really cool, these just different kinds of sounds to your delays. And yeah, you can mix and match. You can have those options on the granular if you want to do that, or the reverse. You can have modulation on the reverse, and it's just kind of fun to build your own sound.
Yeah. Well, you could spend a lot of time on this for sure. And the nice thing is it's all easily preset too, right? Which I really appreciate. Press down that same control page button, and boom, you got it held as a preset. Pretty easy.
Yeah, super easy to make presets. I also really tried to think through just a lot of the different options people would want. So very similar to Strymon. Like the default mode is live mode, which is the left foot switch is bypass, the right foot switch is tap delay. Like it'll default to tap delay. But you can put it in preset mode, and the LEDs go from their standard blue, but in preset mode they're red. And then the left foot switch becomes preset 1 and the right foot switch becomes preset 2. So then you can just have presets that you can jump between even without using MIDI or anything
That's
else,
cool.
which again gives you a lot more functionality.
I like that a lot because in a live situation, to me, like I would use the HX Stomp to set up what do we call it? Not photos, but basically like snapshots. Yeah,
Snapshots.
So
Yeah.
I'd have to toggle between either snapshots or, that would be the way that I would do that, so that I could access two things at one time rather than, clicking off a bunch of pedals. But the way that you're talking about it is an even easier way to do that.
Yeah, and then if you're using MIDI, so if you can send out PC messages along with your other preset changes. It's got 127 presets, so like you can have more than you'll ever really use, which is also great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So on the heels of this, you said, you know what? We need to do something else that's probably equally as complex, or at least endeavorous. Can you give us just a hint of what that might be?
I mean, the only hint I can give is what I'm really interested in doing is kind of twofold: exploring topics like this, right? Like delay and reverb. And this has looper and stuff, but like exploring existing topics, but in a really different way. I think we did like really unique, different stuff with the granular and the resample and everything. So kind of coming at those existing topics from an interesting, different perspective that isn't something other companies are already doing, or exploring topics that like people aren't doing, or there's not very many examples of. I'm trying to think how I could give you hints that don't really give it away, but
it's okay.
But in that same way, just like trying to pack in a bunch of functionality, you're going to be able to do things that aren't the same thing that like everyone else has already released, in multiple times. Like, let's do new, exciting stuff that like the thing I'm always trying to capture is I love that moment when you sit down with a piece of gear and you're playing and you feel inspired and you look up and it's an hour later.
Yeah.
Right?
I can dig that, man.
Like I want that was real. I think that's why the Zoya sticks out to me so much, is like that was such a breath of fresh air, right? Like I want to do that. I want to do things that are a breath of fresh air, a different perspective, but give you so much power to do really interesting things.
Gotcha. I'm glad that you said it like that. That's something that we talk about quite often on the show, is when whether it's a guitar, whether it's an effect, whether it's an amplifier, whether it's even if it's a pick, if you're doing something and all of a sudden you're getting new ideas, new energy, new ways of approaching something, that's the golden ticket.
Yes. And it goes like the opposite too, in the sense of like sometimes like a $99 pedal can give that to you, right? Like it doesn't have to be an expensive piece of gear. It's whatever drives that inspiration is what's like valuable to have on your board.
Like a new pick guard.
We wouldn't put that on your board.
No, I'd put it on my guitar though. Okay, well, Rick, I expect that you will keep in touch with us upon this next release, because we're very intrigued, and I'm really excited that you are. Not that you like really went away or anything, but I'm glad that you're back in action. You know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. It's been a journey.
I can imagine. Tony,
Todd,
you want to send us down a trip?
a little trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
Because at this part of the show
Uh-huh.
is a little
Would
game.
you
I don't know why they're so fast.
I was going to say, is it?
Well, I think you screwed them up. I think that's why they're so fast. I'm just
I
saying.
pulled them out before I had knocked down the time because when I edit, I do it like fast.
Oh. I kind of like to do that
you
again.
mark
Do that
them
again.
and import them.
Yeah.
would you
We'll at least keep it on this one.
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
No, I think
Okay.
that's forever.
What do
that's
we got,
forever.
Tony?
This week's Would You Rather. So, Todd, you had mentioned that you're a fan of the transition music in sitcoms and such.
Yes. The scene transition.
Scene transition. Sorry, the scene transition.
Term right, Tony.
I'm going to do that. Well,
Like the Gilligan's Island one.
here's the good news.
Yes.
So you've been put in charge
Uh-huh.
of the transition
Naturally.
music for a reboot of Gilligan's Island called Skipper's Place.
Okay.
I love this one.
You put him in charge of this, Todd. So
This is I'm trying to come up with the crappiest ones I can so I don't have to do it
Gee,
anymore.
many Christmas.
well, you're off to a good start.
So that's the good news. The bad news is every guitarist in the world is busy doing other things and can't do your scene transition music, except for two guitarists.
Okay.
One, Paul Gilbert from Racer X, Mr. Big,
Yeah.
all the cool stuff.
Yes. Hang on. Let me see if I can get this right.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you do. I just mouthed it. I'm gonna write it down.
You're going to write it
See
down.
if I can get the other.
You can see if you can get the other one.
Okay. Okay. Go
This is
ahead
a
and tell me
funner
what it
game
is.
than the Would You Rather.
Go ahead and tell me. Come on.
Probably.
Go ahead and
yes.
tell me. Come on. Do it.
The second guitarist
Yes.
is our good friend Michelangelo Battio.
No.
You
What?
didn't guess that one.
No.
did you?
That's a
well, that
terrible
was I
idea.
told
Think
you
it
guys
gonna
that was
be
your
crush.
that was
I
your
wrote down Dweezil Zappa. I thought you were gonna go for like.
no,
the, you know.
I'm not.
Okay.
That would have been a good one.
No, come on, Michelangelo Battio.
No, there's not a. There's nope.
So he's
No,
best known.
Yeah, I know.
You know
Nope,
who he
that's
is.
A nope. That's
no.
a nope.
Well, that's what it is. Those are the only two that you got.
This is so weighted to not that one though. Oh. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Well, let's see you come up with the good one next week.
Yeah, you do it then, Todd.
Yeah. So, Michelangelo Battio.
It's not even a would you rather.
Have you ever seen that guy play, Battio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are probably
Like
two,
in person?
Not in person.
It's
I don't
something.
need to.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, when he
it's
was
frightening.
It's
when he
something,
was
all right.
endorsing Tradition Guitars, we were a dealer for them and saw him at one of the NAMs, and he picked up a literally $199 Tradition off the wall, which was set up like crap, and just tuned it real quick and whew, off to the races. It was like, how can you even do that on that thing?
Yeah.
But he's probably best known for playing the opposing
Yes.
double neck guitars.
Double neck guitars.
and the quad neck guitars.
Yes.
Opposing.
All right. Well, okay, Tony.
This is what you get. So, would you rather have Paul Gilbert play the scene transition music, or would you rather have Michelangelo Battio play the scene transition music?
We know Todd's going to go for Battio, so we don't
Yeah,
have to
most
ask him.
likely.
We don't have to ask him.
Tony, go ahead.
Well,
These are all foregone conclusions. Go ahead.
While I would love to have Michelangelo Battio do it, I'm going to have to say he is kind of pigeonholed into a style that
You think?
would not necessarily be a good reboot for Gilligan's Island, right?
Okay. You could have gone with like John 5 or something. That would have been even it.
Hey. Oh, yeah. See how good he is at putting these things together after ex post facto.
No, he should do them all. Absolutely.
I'm
Agreed.
going with Paul Gilbert because
Okay.
I know Paul can kind of tone things down a little bit.
Yeah, or just
Make it more whimsical for a
musical.
reboot of Gilligan's Island.
Okay,
Rob?
Paul Gilbert.
Okay, Rick.
I mean, excuse me, frog in my throat. I got to go with Paul just because I might be submitting a video, to him during my lessons. I can't choose the other guy.
Todd.
Yeah.
Todd.
Oh, gosh, guys, this is hard. I don't know what you.
Billy Zoom's not an option.
No.
so-
Yeah, Billy Zoom.
I know.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go with Paul.
There you go.
Yeah,
See, it's unanimous.
it is.
See how fun that was?
No,
It was very fun.
Okay, Todd's doing the next 5.
Yeah, Todd, he owes me
Minimal.
5. He owes me
At
5.
least.
I'm just Rick is sending me messages going like, "What the heck? Why would you do this? This is lame. Tony's a dum-dum." Rick. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Rick, that's okay. I appreciate your commentary. And I don't need the daily affirmations because I already know that I'm smart enough and I'm good enough and doggone it,
Yes.
people like me.
Yes, that's true.
So,
All right, Tony, we need to thank some people.
do we?
Yes,
Oh,
we
well.
better because they're gonna hate us after that thing. So thank them.
Well, Todd, at this point of the show is a special group of people that we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a sponsor, a friend, a hero of the podcast. Each level comes with some very, very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win these giveaways. Things are just being given away left and right and left.
Yes,
Like Michelangelo Badio. Right and left.
right and left. Yes.
In addition to all that great stuff, there's one thing more. What would that be? You got
You get
another
to have
button?
your name right on the thing.
Why don't you have that on the
I
buttons?
haven't programmed.
Here,
it
I'm
yet.
gonna play this
I will.
one.
No,
Would you
no, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing at all. Okay, go ahead.
That's terrible.
So special thanks to these executive producers. Anthony Lathrop, Brett Hogarth, Cameron Pappas, Darren Gregory, Don Kloss, Elad Mizrahi, James Bell, James White, John Esterle from Rare Effects, John Sebastian, John Helverson, Justin Jones, Ken Sayers, Michael Stenchuk, Mike Davenport, Owen Eads, Plutone, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What?
Yes.
Richard Kendall, Rick Calhoun, Rusty Sneeden, Stefan Lamb, Tom Barazin, Trevor Ellenberg, Trevor Gunberg, and Vader and Pedals.
Indeed.
But Todd, there's more.
I know.
We have a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These fine folks are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the number ones. And they wear a fez upon their head whilst listening to this said podcast. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Anthony Gemalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robinson, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Gregory Randall, Hex Matos, John Williams, Martin Cliff, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Mike Nazionale, Amun Guitars, Pedro Vasquez, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, James Pennington, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wow Pickups. And we have a new Grand Poobah, Jonathan Labate from M2 Lab.
Yes. Thank you, Jonathan, for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And he was just on the
on
previous
the show.
episode. Yes,
That's right.
So great stuff that he's doing, and we really appreciate the support, Jonathan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to say a humongoid giant thank you to Rick Matthews of Matthews Effects for joining us yet again. Hopefully, you're not going to have to go see like a counselor about this or anything, right?
No, it was great. Thanks, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it was great talking with you. I'm so glad that you're out there doing the good stuff again, and we really look forward to all of the things forthcoming. Tony, where can people... Wait, sorry. No, Rick, where can people find your stuff?
Let's find out from Rick first,
People
shall
need
we?
to go get this thing. Where can they get it?
They can get it MatthewsEffects.com. We're in Sweetwater. We're going to be in Guitar Center soon. And we have some great brick and mortar shops as well. You can see on the dealer page of our website.
Awesome. Tony?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff that I do. What do? I make custom pick guards for guitars. How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're doing, what you got, what you need, what color you want, all that good stuff. I probably have some good advice for you, too. It's your chance to make your guitar even more yours.
Yes. And if you take Tony out to get something to wet your whistle, you'll get a lot of bad advice, too. All right. All right, Rob.
Mad Cow Amplification. There's an Instagram, but it hasn't been updated for 7 months, so,
Yep.
Sure.
But there you go.
Yep. If you need your Line 6 spider fixed, he's the man.
No. No.
All right. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us all your thoughts and hopes and dreams, and give us your better would you rathers.
Please.
And yes,
Please.
Yeah.
Thankless bastards.
No, I know you got a tough job. That's why I'm asking for help.
Yeah, real tough. So, anyways, we truly thank you all for sharing this time with us, and glad that you're out there as well. Have a fantastic guitar week, and subscribe. Just did an episode of that. Hang on. We gotta let somebody in the jewelry window.
No problem.
So believe it or not, that was
We sell diamonds here.
episode 68.
68?
68.
Wow.
Goodness sakes.
I knew it had been a while, but that's
That
considerable
was a long time. That means you took a chance on us early, and I appreciate that, man.
I think you guys also took a chance on me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, hang on, Rob. Cool your boots.
These aren't working either. Nothing's working.
Mine works.
I'm gone for a week and nothing works.
There you go. I had you on mute for good reason.
Can you turn these on?
I have them on, but I'll turn them up.
Check 1, 2. There we go.
How about
Now I can hear everybody.
Dime it.
enough?
Dime it.
Jeez.
Come on,
I
dime
remember
it.
my first day too.
Princess has arrived?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth floor.
For happy.
Where is
Yeah,
it? Right
I got you.
there
I know where.
It's
I know
somewhere there.
you're pointing at the
504.
thing on the door.
Number 504.
Familiar. Yes.
Fifth floor. Daddy, can I have a soda pop?
Yeah. You know where the fridge is?
I'm trapped back here.
Paint it in. Come on.
All
Yeah.
right, hang on. I gotta get.
Rob won't move.
Yeah.
You can leave it.
Granddad,
Oh my God!
Granddad
What
and
are you
Uncle
buzzing?
Robert.
Anytime you push it,
Well, yeah.
Oh,
it's
it's
a
like a
safety
tip
thing.
thing.
safety, yeah.
Rick, we've got one of those
you don't burn your house
radial heaters, like from Costco. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right on Rob's
pretty fantastic.
little lady ankles.
This lady.
Hey.
Everybody else is wearing like 2 shirts and a hoodie and like
Yeah,
headgear.
because we know
and-
it's gonna be cold in here.
Yeah.
Duh. Way back in the day, I
Yeah.
remember taking a tour.
Nice.
You really need to see a doctor about that. That is
Wow.
not normal, Todd.
Yeah, God.
Me again, bro.
So
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, but we get in like triple digits.
Woof.
So we'll hit like, 108, 110
that's
in the
gross.
summer.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Especially all the
Yeah,
way
it's
up
not
there.
it's
That's
not
crazy.
fun. Yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah, you need to move.
You
Come
need
to
to-
Ohio, Rick. It's great out here.
Yeah.
No. Cost
I
of
hear
living is good.
I
but
hear
no.
Ohio's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they lied to you.
No, let's
Four
let
on
him
the
do
floor.
the would you rather.
No, you have to figure that
Oh,
out.
no, tell me I got to do another
This
one.
is you got one job. That's it.
Just start recycling.
Snagglepuss.
Oh. All right. Is there
Rick,
a podcast?
Are you? Hey, you.
Yeah.
You're late. You were late sauce.
and yet I'm the first ready to go. Todd's
yeah?
over there going, yep, 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 yep.
Yep.
Rick's
Yep,
really
yep, 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 yep.
rethinking his choice tonight.
It wasn't this bad on episode 68, was it? Dun, 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 dun.
That's not the same thing at all.
No, I know it's not transition, but it's
Yeah.
my favorite music.
It's whenever he gets in fights.
Yeah,
Yes, I want
Yeah.
that playing when I'm
Yes.
next time I'm in a fisticuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll try.
All
to,
right, now we're loose. We're loose now.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Who's the guest again?
Meatball City. Here we
What
go.
are we doing here? That's 5 minutes I'll never get back right there.
Yep. I will agree to that one. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.